Joining me now for more on the global fight against HIV/AIDS is Chris Collins, president of the advocacy group Friends of the Global Fight Against AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria. Mr. Collins, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So the International AIDS Conference ended. What is your assessment on what happens there?
I think there's a sense that there's been a lot of great progress that we need to celebrate, and we need to realize that we have great tools now to address the global HIV epidemic. But the truth is that I think there was a painful realization at the conference that we're getting off track in terms of moving towards ending the epidemic and reaching those UNAIDS goals that you mentioned. So I think there's concern about that, that the money isn't there, but also that we're just not getting to scale with programming that works. There's a lot of buzz about TB because the United Nations is having their high-level meeting on tuberculosis later this year. And so many people see this as a great opportunity to shine a light on TB and the connection between TB and HIV.
Yes, when we know that the co-infection it's very, very detrimental to HIV-positive patients. Now, let's talk about something that was released a couple of weeks ago. UNAIDS really sounded the alarm on the fact that young women are really left behind in this big picture. What is your assessment? What is happening?
It's a serious concern. You know, in Africa, 41% of people are under the age of 15. So you have a lot of people on the continent coming of age. And that's a wonderful opportunity for Africa. But there's also danger here because young people are at the highest risk for acquiring HIV. So we really need to now get to scale with prevention services and treatment services for young people. Young women are particularly at risk. In sub-Saharan Africa, the infection rate among young women is 8 times that in young men. So we need to really concentrate on what young women need to keep themselves safe. We need to think comprehensively, you know, about the healthcare services for sure, but also things like preventing violence and providing educational opportunities, economic opportunities for young women. So we really need a comprehensive approach.
So a comprehensive approach, but what is really failing? If we were to pinpoint one or two main issues, is it basically economic? Does it have to do very much about economic, or is it more with prevention?
Actually, I think the biggest failure is in our policy as a globe and then individual countries. I mean, we now have the tools to make great strides against HIV, and you're seeing that. In fact, there was an announcement at the conference about Namibia is now making great progress on getting treatment to people, getting their viral load controlled so they're absolutely healthy. A lot of progress we're seeing in Eastern and Southern Africa, but much less so in Western Africa, parts of Eastern Europe and Central Asia. So it really is a question of, we have great tools, now we've got to go to scale with those tools and reach people most at risk.
So as we look at solutions, what is your organization doing in this area?
My organization works on behalf of the Global Fund to fight AIDS, TB, and malaria, and the Global Fund provides about 1/5 of all the international finance that goes into HIV. A little bit over half of what the Global Fund spends is on HIV. So what we try to do is get the U.S. Public and lawmakers to understand the great value of the U.S. investment in the Global Fund. And we've got a big year coming up because replenishment for the Global Fund is going to be in 2019. So we're really working hard to show lawmakers about how it's important to meet and increase the pledge that the U.S. has made in the last 3 years. We need an increase from the U.S. and other governments in the Global Fund this year.
And how do we close the major gap? And we're going to leave it there.
In financing?
Yes, in funding.
I think we also need implementing countries that are most affected to those that are able need to do more, but they are increasing their investments by 60% in the last 10 years. So that trend, and then we need to get donors back in the game.
Okay, Chris Collins, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.